Testing 1, 2, 3. And then skin, 2 layers. Okay. Okay.
Now if you wanted to hit your F.
Hello, this is BHS 1390 Medical Terminology, Chapter 1 lecture. Most medical terms have Greek or Latin derivative, and they came from a man named Hippocrates. Hippocrates was known as the father of medicine, and he was the namesake for which all med terms came from. We'll talk about different word parts that go through the textbook, and the first thing we're going to talk about is a word root. A word root is the main part or stem of a word, which frequently indicates a body part. In the example, cardi is referring to the heart, and gaster is referring to the stomach. We will learn that as we progress on. The combining form is a word root plus a vowel, which is usually an O. In the examples, cardio and gastro. So we had the word root, which was cardi, plus the O, and that's known to make this term flow, flowing in the ease of the pronunciation. A suffix, then, is another word part that we will talk about. It is a word ending which sometimes gives the word a new meaning. It indicates procedure, condition, disease, or part of speech. In the example, arthrocentesis, the suffix is centesis. In the example, thoracotomy, tomy is the suffix. And in the example, gastromegaly, megaly is the suffix. And so, I liken this to a train. In a train, the engine is always at the front of the train, and the caboose is always at the end. And so the suffix is the caboose of the train, or the medical term, always coming at the end of a term. A prefix, then, is located at the beginning of the word, so that's going to be the engine of the train. It's always going to be at the beginning. It usually indicates time, number, position, direction, color, or sense of negation and denial. In the examples bi, tri, xantho, pre, and an, we will learn what each one of these means. Bi means 2. We'll learn that tri means 3. Xantho means yellow. Pre means before, and an means not or without. When we build medical terms, your book talks about the basic rules for building medical words. A word root is used before a suffix that begins with a vowel. In the example, hepatitis and sclerosis. So we have a suffix that begins with a vowel here, and we put a word root in front of it here. A combining form, the root plus an O links a suffix that begins with a consonant. So in these examples, the suffixes begin with consonants, site and dynia. So we're going to put a combining form, the word root plus the O, to help that term flow. In most instances, a combining vowel is retained between two roots, even if the second root begins with a vowel. In the example, osteoarthritis. There are 3 basic steps when determining the meaning of a compound medical word. The first thing to do is define the suffix, which is the last part of the word, or the caboose of the train. Then you're going to go to the front part of the word, which is the prefix, the engine of the train. And then you're going to define the root, which sometimes may be the middle of the word, but not always. So we have a term, gastroenteritis. Itis is the suffix. We go to the end of the term to determine what is the suffix. And then we go to the front of the term and we see gastro, and then we have enter. And so we're going to learn the meanings of these. Itis, we're going to learn, means inflammation. Gastro means stomach, and enter means intestine. So we're going to read those terms, read the definition back to us the same way that we defined the term, which is to read from back to front to middle. So we would read, this term means inflammation of the stomach and the intestine. There are some general pronunciation guidelines that are in the back cover of your textbook. You can look at those and you can make yourself familiar with those. The pronunciation is the words spelled phonetically to help you pronounce them. If you remember back to grade school, there are diacritical marks, the macron, which is the long vowel sound that gives the vowels the long sound of A, E, I, O, and U. And then the breve, which is the short vowel sound, which gives the vowels the sound of a, e, I, and In this textbook, when they give a phonetic pronunciation, you'll see capitalization, and that means that is where the emphasis of the syllable should be. So if you turn in your book to page 4, you'll see the example gastritis, and you see that TRI is in capital letters, and so that's where the emphasis is when you pronounce the term. The other thing that you'll hear is what I call the Midwest Ohio dialect. We here in Midwest Ohio have a specific way that we speak. If you go to other portions of the country, they describe our speech as being flat. So you'll hear it pronounced, the terms pronounced by me in a Midwest Ohio dialect. You could go to other places in the country and hear things pronounced differently, which doesn't mean it's necessarily incorrect, but it's just different from that of our region. And here ends the first chapter 1 recording.